Oh shit! Sarah didn't win. Adam wasn't found innocent. He was convicted and later executed by lethal injection. I take it back. Sarah sucks. Or rather, she doesn't suck enough, which is why she got cheated on twice.
Some people fight for love, others fight for blood. The Perfect Divorce by Jeneva Rose is not your typical domestic thriller. It's a masterclass in chaos, betrayal, and courtroom drama. This book is a sequel to The Perfect Marriage, but even if you haven't read the first one, this story wastes no time throwing you into the deep end of a collapsing relationship, a reopened murder case, and a new mystery that leaves bodies and suspicions piling up. Today I'm going to walk you through the twists, the characters, and ultimately whether this book was worth the read, or should it have been left in the evidence box. So, what did you think of the book? Pause this video right now. Go and read The Perfect Divorce by
Jeneva Rose. And when you read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Icha Library.
So, spoiler free, what did you think of the book?
I thought it was pretty good. It was entertaining. It was interesting. Like you said, it grabbed attention and very, very early on. It wasted no time.
Did I say that? When did I say that?
You was like, it grabbed her attention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Did you actually say that, or did I make that up?
I think so. I think you made it up.
Did I make it up? Maybe that's what I was
you did.
thinking when you said whatever it was that you said.
Oh, okay. So this story wastes no time throwing you into the deep end of it.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah.
I
That's
said
what I was
I
thinking
didn't
when
say-
you said that.
I didn't
No, you
say-
didn't. You didn't.
yeah,
you didn't.
yeah.
But that's what I was thinking when you said that, which is why I said it. Wow, memory's really not reliable, is it? That was 2 seconds ago. It's crazy.
Exactly.
But yeah, no.
I didn't realize. I was thinking,
you
did
was
I
like,
say
yeah,
that?
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
did I say that?
You was like, yeah. I agree.
But yeah, so go on.
Yeah, no, it grabbed my attention early on. I thought the characters were very interesting as well, but I'm starting to be able to smell Psycho, like 20 miles away. I'm starting to be able to smell Psycho characters from like 20, 30 miles away.
What I would say is I thought the book was very engaging. Straight away, you get thrown into deep end, as I said. And that's what I like. You know, I don't want to have to work to get immersed into the book. Straight away, I was immersed into the book. And it's easy to read and it's entertaining. I mean, you can even have a laugh at certain certain
Which
times.
seems strange considering the plot of the book.
Yeah. But,
This,
you know, and I'll probably say this a few times, but, you know, I just can't believe it's the same book as what we read. You know, Home is Where the Bodies Are. Home is Where the Bones Are.
Oh, the same author, yeah.
So Home is Where the Bones Are? Whatever.
Home is Where the Bodies Are,
yeah. I can't believe it. I mean, these two books are just like on completely different levels. Completely different levels.
I agree. But one thing I would say is we should have read The Perfect Marriage first.
Well, I wanted to, but selfishly, it wasn't available for audiobook. I don't know why. On Audible, it's only available in German. And I tried to search high and low for it, and I couldn't. So
You should have just bit the bullet and learned German.
He's gonna say that, you know. He's gonna say, "Buy it, just read that some physical book." But so that's why we read "Home is Where the Bones Are," Bodies Are, because I thought it's the same author, and that book's you know quite popular. But yeah, no, I did want to read the first one.
So before we read Home is Where the Bodies Are, you wanted to read The Perfect Marriage.
Listen,
even before that.
Listen, I'm on my game. I look at what books are coming out in the next.
no,
I'm just letting you know. I
already know this.
I look at what books are coming out and I schedule it, and I'm like, okay, that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Let's do this.
Why don't you just read Why don't you just read the PDF of
You want me to
The Perfect
read
Marriage?
like a peasant?
I'm dead. Man said, you know he can't read. He's black, he can't read.
I said, "For my lord." But Bob was the main character? Because it seemed like Sarah was the main character. But
No,
Bob,
Sarah's my main character.
yeah, but Bob was the actual main character because we had the internal monologue and you know whatnot, but we didn't have that from Sarah.
And she was like unreliable. She's an unreliable narrator, as they say.
Was she?
Sarah, an unreliable narrator, as they say. That's what they say.
What, do they?
Yeah, that's what they say about Sarah. Because from things like in the beginning when she was watching the TV and they saw the ex-sheriff found his DNA was matched from the crime scene, she was acting surprised, which she shouldn't have been.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Or she was like, what's going on here? When it's like, you know what happened. You was
okay.
like,
All right, no, I know what you're saying. I literally know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I don't know if you are right in that instance, but I understand. I get the grasp of the unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
I can understand. How many have you got?
7.
I thought you would have more than me. I've got 6.
Sweet.
So you can go first.
Sarah Morgan is an attorney. A good one, as everybody knows. Good enough to defend her husband Adam Morgan against the murder of the mistress that he cheated on her with and win. Yeah, no, I was mistaken here, but seriously, how do you leave a woman that can and has gotten you off a murder charge? The only way that the author could improve this is if Adam was guilty. Very strong start by the author, it has to be said, and one can only hope this time Jeneva Rose will serve us up something better than home is where the bodies are.
Yeah, so you thought Adam was Bob, basically.
No, I thought, because I was reading the book, and obviously I was just going through it, whatever, and I'd already read the blurb where it said, you know, all the stuff about that happened in A Perfect Marriage, which was about the original court case. But I thought this was going to be, I thought Adam had gotten off. Like, I thought that was the premise of the book. So I was like, oh man.
So as you're reading this, was you thinking, why haven't we read the first one first?
No, because I didn't even realise it was a sequel until I'd already began. Like, I was involved in the book, but obviously I did end up thinking that.
He pretended to be something he's not capable of. He pretended to be something he's not capable of being. Decent.
Yeah, I was heavy. Like
Is that not what you're supposed to do, though?
what? Pretend to be decent?
We're all supposed to pretend to be decent human beings, but deep down we're psychomaniac murderers.
Well, define supposed to.
Well, supposed to in terms of being in line with society.
Oh, in the interest of conforming to society.
Yeah. You didn't leave because he cheated. You left because he was prepared to leave under the right circumstances. Sarah is clearly a boss bitch, and I kind of like her. She's intelligent, confident, and quick-witted. All of the qualities that you absolutely do not want in a wife.
I was literally doing the same thing reading the book. I was like, you guys messed up, man.
I'm pretty sure she had verbally had up the sheriff, her husband, and her co-worker within the first chapter. Everybody was scared of this woman. She had her husband practically begging on his knees for forgiveness as he had been caught cheating. She caught the sheriff having words with her client without her presence and reprimanded him like he was a boy. And then her co-worker, who tried to rattle her by revealing that her husband had cheated on her, she just destroyed him. Why are you telling me this? And he was like,
it was actually a little bit sad to watch. Sometimes
she was
I was like,
schooling
Jesus Christ. I was like, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, the author did a great job of painting Sarah to be an absolute boss, and straight away this book had me locked in. At this point, I was skeptical because I know this is the author. This author is capable of conjuring up a good idea, but suffers from converting the book into a win, as we've seen before from other books, such as Home is Where the Bodies Are. So yeah, I was skeptical. I started reading straight away, and I'm thinking, as I'm reading, I'm liking this. Like, what's going on? You know, I was feeling, suspicious of where this was gonna go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, as we get into it, she did a good job. Very good job, I actually think. So yeah. Make sure you read this one.
Warning bells. Chapter 2 sees us introduced to an unknown character who's being held in an unknown place. The format of the story seems to suggest that POV will alternate back and forth, which is not a problem per se, but all this guesswork is already making me confused, and confusion early in a book is bad. If I don't have a bloody clue what's going on, I just end up wanting to DNF. So
did you read it or did you listen to it?
No, I listened to it. I did listen to it.
Well, surely that must have helped then, because
I don't know. I need to read it first. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, when you listen to it and you got the bounce between the male voice and the female voice,
yeah, I see what
that
you
helped.
mean. Yeah,
and then we even had the sheriff's voice.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
it
so I
hurt.
find it a lot better. Well, I don't know. I didn't read
Fair
it, but
enough.
yeah.
But yeah, it helped, but not enough.
So you was confused a bit in the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. We were introduced properly to Bob Miller, who was Sarah's husband, and the black sheriff in one go when the sheriff brought in Bob Miller for an interview regarding the woman that Bob had an affair with. He was the last person to see her before she went missing. To top it off, the missing woman Stacy was blackmailing Bob. There were texts found on her phone that read, "Pay up or I'll tell your wife."
Damn.
I wish a bitch would threaten me. And I've texted her back 2 words. Tell her. Lads, if she loves you, she'll forgive you. Do you disagree with that statement?
That's the most toxic thing I've ever heard.
Do you disagree with that statement?
If she loves you, she'll stay.
Do you disagree with
it? No, but I don't agree with it.
Wait, what?
You said do I disagree with that?
You're getting better at this.
No,
avoiding the question.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
You don't disagree.
I think you can love someone and stay, and you can love someone and leave. You could.
You can say you love someone and leave, but
You
do
could
you
say
really?
you love somebody and stay, but not really. Do you know what I mean?
Let's not.
There's no end to this.
Yeah, let's not.
100%. What time is it? It's already 6 o'clock. I reckon we'll be done by midnight if we continue.
Trust me, there's no better feeling than making a power move on somebody who thinks they are the one in control.
Lex Luthor.
You know, Stacey was already thinking about what she was going to spend the money on.
Yeah, she had a Shein shopping cart full up already.
She's already,
Her Temu shopping cart was full already.
She just knew he couldn't dare to say no.
She was like, I got
so
you,
when you
sort of
shatter
thing.
them dreams,
Yeah.
it's like they don't know what to do.
It's like when you
sort
think
of
you've got checkmate in chess, but you blundered.
Yeah, so back when I was younger, a terrible person, I used to do things that I shouldn't. And I had a girl text me one time, "You best call me when you wake up, otherwise I'm going to tell your girl."
Damn.
I woke up to that text and I said, "Tell her."
Yeah.
And she was like, "What, you really want me to?" Like, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
when will they start saying stuff like, you best do this?
Yeah,
You've already messed up. You've messed up somewhere along the line
Yeah.
for them to have that level of chest.
So do you at least agree with the fact that the worst possible thing to do is pay up?
Yeah, of course. Of course, you can never cave. Look, it's easy for me to be sitting here, on a comfy chair with no problems, talking about, never cave to blackmail or whatever. I mean, I've never been blackmailed. But what I do know is they don't want to burn you. They want to own you.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the worst thing you can do is give them what they want.
Take the
You messed
money.
up, take your L,
Any money
get
that you
shot.
any money that you was gonna spend, just spend it on your girl, making up to her.
Yeah,
That's the
for
best
sure.
thing you could do.
Because at the end of the day, they could take everything you got and then still tell her.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? There's no way to win.
And
There's
then
only
you'd have
way
to kill her.
Yeah, exactly. Not really, but in blackmail situations, there's no way to get out of it. There's only way to lose less.
Yeah.
So just
damage.
just limit the damage, man.
limitation,
And again, it's easy for me to sit here and say this. 'Cause when they got them nudes, got pictures of Elijah with his dildo, and they're ready to release it online, you got to stay strong, man. Stay strong.
I haven't even finished. This is how I could have split this up into 2 points, but I didn't. So anyway, I love the scene where Bob Miller gets interrogated. It was nice to see a lawyer and a sheriff having a showdown. We got the internal dialogue of Bob saying to himself, "Oh, fuck, now it's going to seem like I'm lying. I need to give him something useful and direct him elsewhere." So it was almost like a verbal chess game with the back and forth, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We also got to know the black sheriff a bit. Was he actually black? Or am I making that? He sounded black. What I will say is that he absolutely didn't seem like sheriff material. He had anger problems, he was violent, his moral beliefs seemed to conflict with the law. He'd say things like, "Oh, I want everything, something's holding me back, I want to beat you up," or sort of thing. He clearly didn't handle pressure as well, as he consistently needed his girlfriend to calm him down. And then, of course, he was unprofessional because he was fucking a fellow colleague. So I don't know why he was a candidate for the role of sheriff, but at least he did have a personality. But yes, everything about this book is good so far. It seems to be ticking all the boxes. I can clearly see that we're heading towards a 4-star book minimum. I could see that straight
That was
away.
a very brave thing to say.
Yeah,
Mid notes.
No.
You had a lot of confidence.
Telling you, I could tell very, very, very early on. I said, "Look, we've got all the components here. You can't fuck this up. You seriously can't fuck
There's
it up."
nothing. There's no such thing as unfuckable. I don't believe that. There's nothing in this life.
It was just so easy the way it flowed. I could
get
see
that,
where
but
the
it's like
story
there's
was
people
going.
that have won the lottery within a month they're broke again. There's
Yeah,
no such thing
definitely.
as unfuckable.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you've literally been gifted a winning hand from God and you gave it back.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sarah didn't win. Adam wasn't found innocent. He was convicted and later executed by lethal injection. I take it back. Sarah sucks. Or rather, she doesn't suck enough, which is why she got cheated on twice. But it must suck to be her too. Not only have both her husbands cheated on her, but she also had to find out from the television that her first husband, Adam, was wrongfully put to death. It's just lucky they didn't have children together. So obviously you can see this is a person who's not yet read the entire book.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later. But that hit me like a sledgehammer because I was reading the whole book under the pretense that Adam was, got off.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got executed by lethal
Trust me,
injection. Obviously, she had to
reading
remarry.
this book has made me want to read the number one even more.
Even when I read the blurb, I wanted to read the number one. Like, I didn't even start the book yet.
Yeah. Sarah did the same thing to her ex-husband, Adam. Dealt with him nonchalantly while she destroyed him silently. This was Bob Miller's words. He was talking about his own wife. So he knew how she moves. He knew she was ruthless,
he's a
and he
joker.
thought to himself, that's
I'm a
the woman I
joker.
want to marry.
I'm a joker.
Your husband cheats on you, and you silently cut him out like a cancer. Joseph, what do you think about this statement? In fact, what would you say if you were talking to one of your guy friends and he said he went on a date with a girl and she's mentioned she's been married before, her ex-husband cheated, and she cut him off silently, delete block, right? What if your friend said to you that that's a red flag and he'd never date a woman like that?
No, I would understand what he means.
Does he make sense or is he talking nonsense?
No, that's definitely not nonsense. I understand what he means like that because, we're how people, when you meet somebody and they don't necessarily meet you. They meet what you put forward as the best version of you, right? So you always want to see the best version of somebody, and when they tell you a story about their ex or whatever, you immediately dismiss this other person as a villain, because you like this person, you want to get with them, or etc., etc. But how a person dealt with their last relationship, you need to pay attention to that shit.
Yeah, of course.
100%, and this is a mistake a lot of people make,
So what are you saying, that this woman did something bad?
I think that's not. Listen, what is that phrase that women love? Communication is key. And then they want to slock off the communication and instantly get pissed off. So, communication is not only key when you feel like communicating. Communication is key, especially when you don't feel like communicating.
So what you're saying is that woman a walking red flag in your opinion?
I think that is a red flag. That was very red flaggy. Like, being able to cutting somebody off, especially if you're married.
That's the key for me.
Exactly.
That's the key
if you're
for me
married, cutting somebody off like that is very red flaggy. Because you've made a commitment to this person. So you cut your kids off next. I mean, I know that's different because you share blood, but, it's a commitment, isn't it not?
So that woman, red flag, stay away from it.
Yeah, I would stay away from that. That's very red flaggy behaviour. And she may have a load of green flags.
It's funny because I don't think a lot of people see it like that. When they hear about a woman cutting the man off for cheating, they're
you
like,
go girl.
You go girl.
Sort of thing.
So
Boss bitch move.
So it's like, did she do the right thing or did she do the wrong thing? Which is quite interesting.
Or she gassed up by the crowd.
What I do know, I think that's a red flag. I'd say thank you very much, sweetheart.
You can leave.
I honestly think that the author's flexing on us. She's showing a fundamental understanding of how to keep the readers engaged. I knew that Stevens, who was the disgraced former sheriff, had to die. The author masterfully took us on an emotional roller coaster. While in his jail cell, Stevens tried to take Blue aside. He hung himself with his belt, and the sheriff attempted to rescue him. You know that scene when somebody's trying to open a door in an emergency, but they've got 1,000 keys? We had that scene. The sheriff gets the door open, then he immediately, after cutting Stevens down, starts performing CPR. Cool, so we're left on a cliffhanger at that point. Anyway, Stevens survives after being rushed to A&E, only to get murdered while he's recovering in the hospital by an unknown assassin. So it's like, this is normally what I would ask for. I would normally say to an author, if you're going to kill him, string it out. Give us some emotion, He tried to take suicide, then he was saved, and then he was murdered. So it took us on this roller coaster. We didn't care about Stevens, but we knew how important he was to the plot. He had the secrets. He was going to uncover this corruption, the police corruption or whatnot.
He had a target on his back for sure.
All these things. So we were invested in knowing whether he was going to live or die. Lastly, the Alejandro and Sarah thing is so random, but I'm here for it. It's almost like the author thought, in the very unlikely event that you're bored, let's sprinkle in some dynamite. So that was very random though. The ex-con with the hot lawyer. Yeah, it was like sneaking around.
I forgot his name was Alejandro.
Sneaking around the house while the daddy's out. That was
my guy. My guy. Bob is actually trying so hard, I'm pissing myself laughing. Bob Miller is Sarah's second husband, a lawyer and named partner at his firm, the father of Sarah's daughter Summer, and her second husband in 12 years to have an affair. If we're being totally honest, those are not great stats. Despite Sarah's insistence that their marriage is over, Bob is adamant that his one-night stand was his life's biggest mistake and persistently attempts to beat his wife around the head with his own remorse, hoping to win her back with pity. One thing that I can say that I respect about Sarah is she looked the begging, pleading father of her only child in the eye and said, 0 fucks given. Ice in the veins. I had to respect it. Because, do you know what it's like to have somebody on their knees begging, looking you in the face? You said, oh, begging? No. But pleading with teary eye. Yeah. Like, that must be, you must feel like a little, especially if you're married to them, you have a child with them.
I'm actually very bad at saying no to people.
Yeah,
like very bad.
100%. People say, can I? I'm like, yes!
You're taking out your wallet already.
You know what I mean? Take my money.
You know what? Well, you don't drive, but nowadays you get these foreigners that No,
That's a
honestly,
great way to start.
You get these foreigners, these beggars, standing by the traffic lights. So when you're driving up, they're standing there waiting for your car to pull
so
up.
they can knock on the window.
So they can knock on the glass. I just look around. They're there, and I just look over there, and I wind up the window. I can't say no, otherwise I'll give them a card.
No, I'm dead.
You know, so I just look away.
When they whip out the
turn up
PDQ.
the music.
Yeah, there's a guy outside McDonald's in Brixton. He just chills at the traffic lights. Sees some
When
old
he sees you
crackhead.
coming, he's like, that person can't say no.
Nah, he sees me coming. He's like, I ain't got no money. There's no point asking.
That's rude, boy.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Homeless person calling you broke. That's rock bottom.
Is it
I
me?
think I just went.
Okay.
How many have you got left?
3, I think.
How? I've got 3. Oh wait, yeah, it's you.
You need to calm down, mate. Jesus Christ. I absolutely love the pacing of the book. It's perfect. I don't have any time to be bored. And what's more is that there's only an hour left and we're no closer to figuring out who is behind it all. I was actually worried that I was going to make it to the end of the book and not have anything bad to say. But rest assured, I found something. So the sheriff worked out who the masked assassin was because he happened to take notice of his figure. The assassin happened to be in the crowd when the sheriff was giving a press conference. The sheriff thought to himself, that guy looks like a cop or ex-military. I don't know if you remember that. But at this point, I thought to myself, I wonder how we're going to link the narrative back to this guy. Because the guy stuck out, you know, and the sheriff took notice of him, which is obviously what happened. The worst thing is, that scene was completely unnecessary. The way the sheriff really worked out who was the masked assailant was from his funny, misshapen fingers. The assassin was a fellow cop who had been put onto desk duty after an accident where he slammed his fingers in a car door while trying to apprehend a suspect. The sheriff recounts a story where he remembers taking the mickey out of his colleague's finger at the shooting range. He called him E.T., an alien. So on the CCTV, the man's face was covered the whole time, but his fingers weren't. Cool, that's a creative story. The author had to invent a whole backstory for the deformed fingers. The shooting range scene, love it. Why taint that work with the assassin plonked into the press conference scene sticking out like a sore thumb? So, you know, she's given us 2 methods of revealing the baddie. You know, in a shitty book, they would say, the sheriff would just notice him and just remember that figure.
You see his shoes or something.
Yeah, exactly. But what the author's done is creating the backstory, the shooting range, the misshapen fingers. So she's given us 2 methods when she didn't need that shitty one. I don't understand why we saw him. We just saw him before randomly, coincidentally.
Yeah, that's true. Actually.
So I don't know why you've done that.
And she went to all the trouble of like.
And then she still gave us the backstory and another.
Maybe she thought the backstory later and then was like forgot to take it. I don't know. Maybe she forgot to take it out.
Well, no, it does seem like one was put in.
I'm sure authors can make mistakes like that.
Yeah, well, why? Why did you make a mistake? How dare you?
She's fire editor.
But yeah, no, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Fire editor and hire us. Writing this book in first person was a mistake. And I've just remembered I didn't listen to it, I read it. I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to it.
I just remembered.
I just remembered. And the reason why I remembered is because I know why I wrote this note.
So you remembered something that was false before?
Well, I've done that before, haven't I?
So how do you know you don't remember what's false
Because
now?
I know why I wrote this. It wouldn't make sense. This note wouldn't make sense. Writing this book in first person was a mistake. There are too many characters to refer to them all as I, especially in PDF format. Sarah Morgan, Bob Miller, former Sheriff Ryan Stevens, Sheriff Hudson, and our mystery character, amongst others. From the reader's perspective, I have to do a lot of mental gymnastics just to remember which POV I'm reading from, and it takes me right out of the story. If it were just written in third person, it would be a much more pleasant and easygoing experience, which is what I want from my book ultimately. It was literally such an easy fix, because
So with the PDF, so I assume you read it, you must have had to pay for it because the book just came out. Did you get it for free?
Yeah, I got it for free. I mean, I paid good money.
No,
for
the
it.
book came out.
I know it came out like 4 days ago.
It came out like on the day I said we should.
Came out. I think Tuesday. It came out.
Yeah, it was Tuesday.
Came out Tuesday. That's 5 days ago.
Yeah. So on the PDF, did it have the person's name of who the POV was?
No, because I didn't have. It wasn't a PDF. It was an EPUB.
PV.
No, it was an EPUB. So that's like it's an ebook format. It's a different type of ebook format, but it's not PDF. But it didn't have it. It just has the text. It doesn't have it's not formatted. It just has the text.
That's why. If you listen to it,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
If I listen to the movie.
What? Alejandro's in on it? How? Honestly, I did call it, but because of how Sarah met Alejandro, I thought it was basically impossible. So Alejandro, who was a reformed ex-con with the help of Sarah and their charity, had grown close to Sarah and was practically dating her. But he hadn't grown close to Sarah. Sarah's husband Bob had paid Alejandro, who was a hitman, to spy on his wife. Sarah and Alejandro falling for each other was not part of the plan. So Bob, out of the blue, orders Alejandro to kill his wife.
Yeah.
And this I didn't think made much sense because one, Bob spent at least half the book begging Sarah to forgive him. Now all of a sudden he's happy to have her killed. And two, that's his daughter's mother. That's a crazy thing to do.
Yeah, no, it is.
The amount of pain he's going to inflict on his daughter. For why? So Alejandro gets the order from Bob. Yeah, go and kill my wife. Alejandro already had plans to go to Bob's house to see the wife. They were about to have dinner. Alejandro had been trying to fuck Bob's wife from the start of the book, and it looked like tonight was finally the night. Well, it was. Now his plans are ruined because he had just received the order to kill her. Quick question.
This better not be the most diabolical question I've ever heard.
If you was Alejandro, would you have sampled the goods before you had to kill Sarah? I mean, she was clearly willing. You could have had some fun and then completed your mission, surely. I mean, I know what I'd do.
You'd have sampled goods after.
Yes, exactly. You know me too well. I don't wait till after.
I was like, should I say this? And then I said, say it. During. Sample the goods during.
But the funniest bit of the whole scene is where Bob asks to see the proof that his wife had been murdered on his orders. When the picture came through and Sarah was in a state of undress, he said angrily, "Wait, did you fuck my wife?"
Is he seriously mad?
Men are funny creatures. You can kill his wife. But fucking her, that was 100%. Disrespect.
Listen,
so he was angry about it. It's so weird, isn't it?
It's weird, but I'm sure, like everyone was like, everyone was like, you can't do that, man. You can't fuck his wife.
You fuck my
got
wife.
paid good money to do a job. Like, don't disrespect it.
That was unprofessional, man.
Unprofessional, man. But it's just crazy because, listen, I'm sure lots of men have wanted to kill their wives before, but it's it's just a thought in the back of your head. You don't pay a hitman to do it.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
No, it is insane. He said till death do us part. Nobody said it couldn't be on my orders.
Untimely death, yeah.
That was timely. They organised all of that.
Yeah.
I kind of knew Sarah was crazy. I've been getting crazy vibes from her the entire story. So as much as I'd love to say it was a crazy twist to discover that she and Bob conspired to murder Kelly Summers, the waitress that Adam cheated on her with, and it was a crazy twist, I'm finding myself thinking, yep, that checks out. As if trying to one-up herself, Sarah frames Bob for the crime, ends up being paid a $40 million settlement from the state of Virginia for wrongfully executing the same husband she framed for murder. That settles it. Sarah's my goat. That is a different level, it's a four-dimensional chess.
Yeah, no,
you got paid $40 million to kill your cheating husband.
Yeah. No, I did have a problem with the ending, but I'm gonna say it right now. Oh my God, I've just realised that Bob is going to try and save Stacy and end up getting shot. Sarah is a genius, which also means that the author's a genius. It's just a great idea, especially given the fact that Bob has had his wife assassinated and Sarah has engineered the death of her husband. It's a poetic ending. They were both fighting for custody of their child and have subsequently, ironically, left their child orphaned. Well, this is what I thought. When I wrote this, I thought Sarah was dead. And I'm going to be honest, I did think she was alive. I thought, surely not. Surely they're not going to kill Sarah off. But when Alejandro sent the proof, I was convinced. So did you think that Sarah was actually dead? And was the ending ruined because they refused to kill Sarah off? Or was it better how it is with Sarah alive? Because
I did think she was dead. And I thought Bob was supposedly going to turn out to be the villain, let's say, of the story. But I don't know if I say it would have been better if they killed her off. I don't know, because I appreciate the twist. I appreciated her framing Bob for the crime. I appreciate like seeing the payoff of all these crazy things that she did. Like,
but we still would have seen the payoff if she was dead. Because she already did it. She already orchestrated it. She left the gun and whatnot. She orchestrated it. Whatnot.
I don't know, maybe, but
I literally said no. When I found out she was alive, I was like, no.
You felt like the author blundered.
Not blundered, but it was just like, mate, we saw the proof, you lied to us sort of thing, just kill her off. Why are you saving her?
The author said, and this is a verbatim from her interview, she said, I'm not finished with Sarah yet, so obviously she wants to write more books.
Well, she wants more money.
I mean, who doesn't want more money?
Yeah. I think that one thing I liked is the pig's blood that was found on the knife, because that is masterful. You know what she did years ago. She got somebody to trust her by giving them a damning piece of evidence, which wasn't actually damning. So he's been sitting on that. It's like if you give your partner something that could take you down, it's a test on them, on their resolve, because they're gonna use it at some point.
You have to.
They're gonna
immediately.
They're gonna use it at some point. And when they do, then you know they're not down for you, sort of thing.
But if you, I suppose. But you know, I don't believe in all these tests. I believe you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You know, you was trying to play these head games with people, you get these funny, unpredictable results as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And like a lot of the time, you bring it upon yourself. You know, you're doing all these tests or whatever. I want to know if you really cared about me, sort of thing. Well, now you found out I don't. You happy now?
There's two plot holes. I mean, to be honest, you go first because I'm done anyway.
Oh, this is my last one anyways. Hold on, I've just thought of a question. Bob is an absolute idiot for cheating on Sarah, knowing full and goddamn well the atrocities that she's capable of. If you meet your wife through a clandestine murder conspiracy to off her unfaithful first husband, just know you better keep your shit tight.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the location off and your browser history deleted. I mean, I delete my browser history for years. But if I was with that crazy bitch, keep your shit tight, man. So he's an idiot. So thinking he was going to get away with that. Like, why was he such an idiot?
Oh no. I mean, he knew what he was getting himself into.
He should have known.
Maybe that Stacey thing was it was worth it.
The box was.
But I think not a plot hole, not really a plot hole. Do you think why did the police overlook the fact that Stacey acquired a gun? Stacey was kidnapped. She was kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
Where did she get the gun from? Someone would have had to put it there, and it wouldn't have been Bob.
Yeah, that's true.
They only had one round in there, or whatever.
Maybe they just thought she had a gun.
Yeah, but she'd been missing. She'd been kidnapped for days. That's definitely a plot hole. I
suppose.
That's
had to
suspicious.
chase that up. Yeah, they had to chase that up.
Where did you get the gun from? He wouldn't have just left it on the floor for you.
With a bullet in there.
And then obviously we have the proof of Sarah being dead. That photo was sent to Bob.
What, from Alejandro?
Oh, from Alejandro. So that photo could resurface somehow.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
So there's avenues.
Oh yeah, and they'll be like, yo, what's this?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
What's going on? Sort of thing.
Photos never go away.
Yeah.
Once it's taken, it's taken.
So, ladies and gents, keep that in mind. Photos are forever.
100%.
Especially when you be sending them
Especially
around.
when you're posting them online.
Yeah.
You think DMing them is not posting them online, but I have some bad news for you.
I assure you.
I have a bridge over San Francisco to sell you. That's what you believe.
What did you think of the book?
No, it was really good. It was good.
0 to 5.
I'd give it a strong 2. No, I'm joking. I'd give it a 3. I'd give it a 3.
A 3?
I'd give it a 3.
So where did it go wrong? What did it need to do to get to at least a 4? Because I would say it's a 4 out of stars.
Maybe if I listened to it, I would have given it a 4 stars.
Oh yeah, you was confused.
Because that one thing.
Yeah, you was confused.
Yeah, the thing about first person. Because
I'm blaming the author for his own inadequacies.
What do you mean? She wrote the book. What does that mean?
You were confused.
But then again, it's a Audible original. So why is there even a PDF? It's an Audible original.
Is it? No, the other one, Terry Densel.
Yeah, see.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot. Yeah. See, I'm mixing it up. That's literally why I thought I listened to it, because I'm mixing them up.
Yeah. Oh, wait, so there was no PDF for The Secret Sister?
No, it's an Audible original. It doesn't exist anywhere.
Oh, okay.
It exists on Audible, and that's it.
Fair enough. But yes, the book, we agree, it was 4 out of 5 stars. You should absolutely read it. I would absolutely recommend it. I think it's one of the best books we've read this year, easily. I don't remember any books that are... well, there are definitely books better than that, but it's definitely one of the better books we've read.
Especially fiction, that's pretty good.
Definitely one of the better books we've read. It's nice to get a book that's finally like, it was good. Because
the main selling points for me was an easy read, like you said. I was going through it. I was engaged. Like, I wasn't necessarily bored. I was confused at times, but not bored.
Yeah.
So that makes a nice change from some of the other dross.
If these were this thing that we're doing would be so much easier if these were the worst books that we got.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
These had all the elements, and all the books that we read, all these new books, they should have all the elements, and most of them are missing. They're half a book, 3/4 of a book or whatever. Well, that's half, 3/4. But yeah.
If you didn't say that, I wouldn't notice as well. I would have been like,
Muffin, yeah.
Let him cook.
Oh god. But yeah, this is on that note. Maybe we should leave it with
Yeah.
that. You don't have a quote of the day, do you?
Nah,
Leave it away. Perfect. Useless.
No one's watching these anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys.
Until next time.
Until next time.